For nearly 20 years, Pixar wasn't simply a studio, it was an experience. The moment that hopping desk lamp appeared on screen, the title didn't even matter. You already knew you were about to watch something special. Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Wall-E, Up. Every release felt like another entry in animation's golden era. Pixar had mastered something no one else could, blending heart, humor, and raw human emotion in a way that worked for kids and adults. But today, the lamp still jumps. The logo still glows. Yet, when a new Pixar film is announced, the reaction isn't excitement. It's hesitation. People keep asking the same question. What happened to the magic? Pixar's story really begins in 1986 with Luxo Jr., a short film about two desk lamps. It wasn't just a technical breakthrough in CGI, it proved that computer animation could express emotion. That idea carried through later shorts, like Red's Dream and Tin Toy, where ordinary objects felt alive, vulnerable, and relatable. Those experiments led to a partnership with Disney, and, eventually, Toy Story. Toy Story wasn't revolutionary just because it was the first fully computer-animated feature. It was revolutionary because it had depth. These were toys wrestling with purpose, relevance, and identity, all disguised as a family comedy. The film earned hundreds of millions worldwide, but more importantly, it proved Pixar could speak to every age at once. Animation wasn't just for kids anymore. And Pixar didn't slow down. For the next decade and a half, they were unstoppable. From 1995 to 2010, Pixar became its own genre. Each movie felt like an event, something that would make you laugh, cry, and rethink life by the time the credits rolled. These weren't just great animated films, they were cultural touchstones. Stories that taught kids about love, loss, courage, and morality, and stayed with them for life. Pixar also took risks no other studio would touch. A rat dreaming of becoming a chef. A nearly silent love story between robots. An opening montage about marriage, aging, and death that hit harder than most full-length dramas. Pixar gave children their first existential questions and gave parents a mirror for their own lives. By 2010, Pixar wasn't just the best animation studio, it was the most reliable studio in Hollywood. Then things shifted. Most people point to Toy Story 3 as the end of Pixar's first era. It felt like a perfect conclusion, not just for Woody and Buzz, but for Pixar itself. And then came Cars 2. Released in 2011, Cars 2 was Pixar's first real stumble. The issue wasn't subtle. The film wasn't aiming to say anything. It was aiming to sell merchandise. The emotional depth was gone, replaced by a noisy spy parody centered on Mater. It still made money, but something felt off. Like Pixar had misunderstood what made people love them in the first place. From 2011 to 2019, Pixar leaned heavily into sequels. Cars 2, Monsters University, Finding Dory, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, and Cars 3. A studio once defined by originality became increasingly dependent on its own nostalgia, and audiences noticed. If Toy Story 3 marked the end of the Golden Age, The Good Dinosaur signaled the beginning of an identity crisis. Released in 2015, it wasn't terrible, but it was forgettable. Worse, it felt interchangeable, like it could have come from any animation studio. That same year, Inside Out reminded everyone what Pixar was still capable of, but it also highlighted how inconsistent the studio had become. After that, Pixar stopped feeling like an event. Aside from Coco in 2017, which briefly recaptured that old magic, many releases felt smaller. Films like Soul, Luca, and Turning Red skipped theaters entirely, and debuted on Disney+. Pixar movies were no longer moments. They were content. Then came Lightyear in 2022. Marketed as Pixar's big theatrical comeback, it was supposed to revive one of their most beloved franchises. Instead, it confused audiences. Was it a reboot? A prequel? A spin-off? Whatever it was, it didn't connect. Despite a massive budget, it barely broke even. Especially shocking when Toy Story 4 had crossed $1 billion just a few years earlier. But the problem runs deeper than box office numbers. Pixar's greatest strength was always its ability to speak to adults through children's stories. Up wasn't about adventure. It was about grief. The Incredibles wasn't just a superhero movie. It was about family and belonging. Toy Story was never really about toys. It was about growing up and learning to let go. Pixar hid big existential ideas inside colorful, approachable worlds. Lately, that balance feels off. Newer films aren't bad. They're just safe. The themes are simpler. The risks smaller. And fine was never what made Pixar legendary. Behind the scenes, things changed too. Pixar once relied on the Brain Trust, a group of veteran creatives who gave brutally honest feedback on every project. That system kept stories sharp and meaningful. But as Pixar expanded and original voices moved on, that culture faded. Under Disney's larger corporate machine, the pressure shifted from innovation to output. More films, more spin-offs, more content, less time to take risks. There was a time when Pixar's logo meant trust. No matter how strange the premise, a cooking rat, a trash compacting robot, monsters in a closet, you knew you were about to watch something deeply human. Today, that trust isn't guaranteed. Pixar might release something incredible, or something you forget by next week. At its peak, Pixar didn't just redefine animation, it redefined storytelling. But even the brightest light can dim when it's stretched too thin. The lamp still hops, but it doesn't shine the way it once did. So, what do you think? What other studio rose so high, so fast, only to lose its footing just as quickly? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And thanks for watching.